Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Sims info/thoughts video. So this one is all about the eco-living stuff pack, the one that the community is helping to build. And the gameplay feature vote has started today, which runs from Friday until Monday, June 26th. So without further ado, let's get into the 4 groups of gameplay that we can vote for. So the first one is called Off the Grid, and this is the one I actually voted for. I think this sounds a lot more exciting than the other ones. But this is an optional gameplay system for Sims who want to disconnect from the utilities grid and instead choose to live off the land. Some gameplay feature ideas include the Off the Grid lot trait, where when selected the lot trait will make it so that your lot no longer receives electricity or water utilities, and bills are significantly reduced or just completely eliminated. And with that, you would have a well pump or a water well, and it provides a means of acquiring water. The sim would be required to occasionally pump water. An attached reservoir would display how much water is remaining to supply the lot before the well must be pumped again. If the reservoir is empty, objects requiring water become temporarily unusable if the off-the-grid lot trait is active. It reduces weekly bills and has the potential to break or have upgrades. With solar panels, that provides a means of acquiring power. A sim would be required to occasionally calibrate and clean the solar panel to ensure it can still supply enough power to the lot. If panels are not maintained, then objects requiring power become temporarily unusable if the off-the-grid lot trait is active. It reduces weekly bills and has potential upgrades, and it may look like a traditional solar panel or may appear to be a tree made of solar panels. Okay, that sounds a little strange, but it will be a ground placeable object only. Then finally we have the wind turbine, and that provides a means of acquiring power. Sim would be required to occasionally calibrate and clean the wind turbine to ensure it can still supply enough power to the lot. If the wind turbine is not maintained, then objects requiring power become temporarily unusable if the off-the-grid lot trait is active. It reduces weekly bills and has the potential upgrades. And it may look like a residential wind turbine on a pole, or it may appear to be a tree made of small wind turbines as leaves? What? That sounds bizarre as well. But again, it will be a ground placeable object only. So, weird sounding tree objects aside, this idea is amazing to me. I really hope this is the one that wins, even though, yeah, you can probably guess which one is going to win. Even if you haven't seen the vote yet, you can probably guess what is going to be the most popular gameplay grouping idea. But off the grid, like, this sounds really interesting because it does add a whole new gameplay style of sorts, and this hasn't been done in The Sims before, because one thing I know a lot of people are complaining about lately is that with The Sims 4, they're just doing like a lot of ideas that have already been done before, but this off-the-grid idea is almost completely new. Like, we've had solar panels and wind turbines before, but we haven't had like a water well or this off-the-grid gameplay, and I think that would put a really interesting, fresh spin on The Sims 4, and I'm just going to be really disappointed when this idea doesn't win. I just hope that if this idea doesn't win, that doesn't mean that it's off the table completely. I really hope that this could be put into a farming pack or even just another stuff pack on its own, because I think this is too good an idea not to do at some point. But let's move on to the next idea, which is food preserves. So this is a collection of features that add new things to do with your harvestable fruits and vegetables, allowing your Sims to produce and store food for personal use or profit. Some gameplay feature ideas include canning and preserving. So there's a new countertop electric canning pot that allows Sims to take harvestables and preserve them for long-term storage or to make fresh jams. When a harvestable is preserved, the contents of the canning jar will no longer spoil. At any point, the sim can retrieve the harvestables as fresh as the day they were canned. When fruit is turned into jam, new recipes are available to make toast and jam. Yeah, excuse to include toasters, bagel and jam, or scones with jam. Then there's nectar making, where there's a new nectar maker object paired with the new nectar making skill. Use of this object allows Sims to use grapes and other harvestables to create nectar which can then be aged in nectar aging racks to increase the value of the bottled nectar. New varieties of grapes would be available for planting and harvesting for Sims with the gardening skill. And there's the superfood harvestable plant. A new harvestable plant, exact type of plant is not yet determined. Superfood would add new recipes or have the option of being added to some existing recipes to make them healthier. Now, as much as I love the off-the-grid idea, I actually wouldn't mind too much if food preserves won, because this sounds very interesting as well. Just more gameplay surrounding food, and I've talked about nectar making in the past, and I really think that should have been part of Dine Out. Like both the making nectar and like having the aging racks and the skill too. Like I think that all should have been in Dine Out, but if we can get it at some point, that would be great. So if food preserves was the one that won, hey, at least I would get nectar making back. Plus, canning and preserving, a little bit of that has been in The Sims 3. And the superfood harvestable plants, I'm not sure, that could be interesting. Just another way of making Sims feel more healthy. I guess I wouldn't mind that. Let's move on to the third idea, which is Carbon Conscious, a collection of features that allow Sims to reduce their carbon emissions in a variety of ways. Some gameplay feature ideas include Freegan trait. I've never heard that word before. But Sims with the Freegan trait have interactions to rummage in large or small trash cans, and potentially elsewhere to scrounge ingredients. We'll include some new ingredients to discover, such as the apple core, banana peel, and new ingredients will be used to prepare some new recipes that Freegan Sims will love. Freegan Sims can eat spoiled food without getting sick. Freegan Sims always want to use the composter object and will receive special moodlets when doing so. And then, speaking of composting, there's the composter, an object that Sims can use to dispose trash, dead plants, spoiled food, and harvestables, and to scrape the remains of meals into. As the composter is filled, the contents are converted into fertilizer. Fertilizer is then used on harvestables in accordance with the gardening skill. And then we got recycling. Recycle bins can be placed from build mode that function differently than trash cans. Sims with certain traits will prefer to use a recycle bin when available, and will receive special moodlets for doing so. Sims will have an option to rummage through existing trash cans to sort their contents for recycling. Yep, that sounds pretty realistic. And Sims will have an option to take the recycling they've collected to a recycle center. Sims will walk off the lot and disappear, and return a short while later with extra simoleons. So this idea is pretty interesting. I don't know if I like it more than the food preserves thing. I don't know, I guess I would say they're tied for my second favorite idea here. But I think the Freegan trait sounds potentially very interesting for those who like playing with Sims who are quote-unquote homeless. Like, of course you gotta own a lot still, at least at this time. Maybe that's something they could add in the future, but what I'm talking about is the idea of just having Sims who are homeless and they're just kinda bumming around and don't really have a fixed home for story purposes. And yeah, like this Freegan trait sounds like it'd be a necessity for that, where like you can discover new ingredients and they can eat spoiled food without getting sick. So that sounds really good. And with the composting, I love the composter from The Sims 2, so I love to see that back. And that yeah, it's pretty much the same as the Sims 2 object, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it does add a decent amount of realism for eco-living gameplay. Recycling though, if you've known me for a while, this is something I've really wanted back in The Sims 4 for a while now. And this actually does sound like an interesting expansion upon how it was done before in The Sims 3. Because not only is there the whole getting special moodlets for recycling, but then you also have the option to just rummage through your existing trash and sort it into recycling. And there's also the recycle center. Yeah, it is walking off the lot, but when I think about it, like, how fun would it actually really be to have a recycle center that you can visit? There wouldn't be really that much you could do there, I think. So I actually wouldn't mind if a recycle center was just a walking off the lot thing, but still kind of an interesting idea. And it's pretty neat that your Sims can make simoleons with that too. It actually does remind me of an idea that I proposed in a My Sims 4 wishlist video a long time ago, where I said, oh, like maybe there could be some sort of like event at the park once in a while where you could just pick up trash that other Sims have left behind, and once the event ends, your Sims could earn extra simoleons for that. So yeah, it sounds slightly similar to that, except it's not really an event that's attached to it. And last but definitely not least, laundry. An optional gameplay system that's only used by the active household when laundry objects are placed on the Sims home lot. Moodlets and modifiers to the decay rates of certain needs serve as some of the benefits and pushback of the system. Some gameplay feature ideas include the washing machine. Sims can use the washing machine to clean dirty clothes that are collected from a hamper or from piles of clothes on the ground. Objects could break, be upgraded, and potentially have a fun interaction or a funny failure. Then of course there's the dryer. Sims can take clothes that have just been cleaned in the washing machine or the wash tub and have them dried. Object could break as well as being upgraded. Then there's the laundry hamper. When a Sim in the active household changes their outfit on their home lot, laundry is added to the hamper as long as it exists anywhere on the lot. Over time, the hamper gradually fills up. If there is no hamper or the hamper is full, then a clothes pile appears on the ground. Clothesline. Sims who prefer to be eco-conscious can choose to use a clothesline as an alternative to the dryer. Using a clothesline does not require power and offers savings on the weekly bill, but clothes take longer to dry. Then there's the wash tub. Sims who prefer to be eco-conscious can choose to use a wash tub as an alternative to a washing machine. Using a wash tub does not require power or water and offers savings on the weekly bill, but the Sim must remain at the object to wash their clothes by hand. Can choose to use a wash tub as an alternative to a washing machine. Using a wash tub does not require power or water and offers savings on the weekly bill, but the Sim must remain at the object to wash their clothes by hand. So let me reiterate something that I've already talked about before, but I know that probably by this point people have already commented on the video saying, "Whoa, Julian, but you wanted laundry, you hypocrite! Why are you changing your mind?" No, actually, I've actually all along been saying that I want laundry, yes, but I don't think it really fits this whole environmentally friendly theme that has been proposed in general for this whole vote. When I think of eco-friendly themes, I don't think of laundry. I think of solar panels, I think of conserving power, I think of composting, I think of recycling. So that's why I like the other ideas so much better, because it makes more sense as an eco-living theme. Whereas laundry, I think it shouldn't have really been part of this vote. I mean, so many people want it. Why did it even really need to be included in the community vote? It should have already been in production as its own separate stuff pack. So yeah, it's just like, okay, well, if laundry wins, well, at least we will get laundry. But it's like, well, should have we had to vote on this? I don't think so. And then it also reduces the chances of the other ideas coming true, which is another bummer. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the actual idea itself. So, assuming this idea wins, which it very, very likely will, at least it's not going to be exactly the same as it was in The Sims 3. Like, the wash tub was not a thing that's existed in The Sims before, so at least that is something new and fresh. And it does actually fit the eco-living theme. But yeah, with the rest of it, it's pretty much as you would expect with the washing machine and the dryer and the hamper and the clothesline as well. Some of it actually sounds like it would go really well with the off-the-grid idea. So that does kind of make me hope even more that both of these ideas will come true at some point in time or another with The Sims 4. I also find it intriguing that laundry could potentially affect the decay rate of certain needs, and I can already imagine one of those being that if your Sims do laundry more often, then their hygiene will not go down as nearly as fast as it would otherwise. So overall, I don't think any of these ideas are close to bad. I just think that, yeah, laundry should have already been a stuff pack on its own, not needing to be included in this community vote at all, but I'm looking forward to seeing which one wins. And while I do think that laundry is going to win, I have seen a decent amount of you in my comment section saying that, yeah, screw laundry, I want different stuff instead. So while I do feel like I'm convinced laundry is going to win, maybe I'll be wrong. I was actually wrong about eco-living, because I thought as much as I wanted eco-living, it was my #1 choice, I thought I was going to lose to the wedding stuff pack idea, but sure enough, eco-living came up on top. So maybe I'm wrong, and that's the hope that I'm going to be holding on to. Before I end this video, there is one more thing I want to go over, because in a new blog post that went up today on thesims.com that talks about this whole gameplay vote, SimGuruGram did confirm the dates of the remaining 2 voting processes that will happen afterwards. So the first one that will happen after the feature vote is the pack icon vote. That will take place from September 6th to September 8th. And we can go through different icons and select the one that will appear in the pack's box art and within the in-game catalog. And then the final vote will be the pack title, and that will run from September 13th to September 15th. And then we'll select a title that best summarizes the pack's atmosphere and content. And if laundry wins, then hopefully at least one of the final titles that we can vote on is Lush Laundry, because that was something that Simply Nando suggested a long time ago. And yeah, that is an interesting title with that alliteration going for it, and at least it wouldn't just be laundry. It would just be like, oh, hey, Lush Laundry. That's a more interesting, attractive title. And that wraps up another Sims info/thoughts video. So let me know what you voted for in the comment section below, and I will talk to you all later. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.